Thank you for joining us, James. First, I would like to ask you, what was the main reason for you to join us in FOM 2018?
I'm actually, so I deal with Jan Paltrow, who's my GAM for my company, and she actually just forwarded the invitation to me. She thought, because my company deals in 3 different types of industries. We deal with medical, industrial, and then also aerospace defense. And I mean, obsolescence is a big part of our business.
Yeah. How did you experience the workshop yesterday? Do you think it was useful?
The supply chain portion, because I'm a sourcing director, that portion for me, I think was relevant. The engineering piece is a little bit, because it's not something that I'm in control of. It's managed by someone else. But the supply chain part, yeah, I thought it was really beneficial.
So in regards to obsolescence, what do you consider is the biggest threat to the security of the supply chain?
I think that, what I've learned, because there's different independents out there, and each, they have their strengths and their weaknesses, and what I found for me, it's the source of where they buy their products. I mean, the source is probably the most critical piece of the supply chain, and having a trusted source, knowing where you can buy parts from, and not have to worry about the parts being counterfeit.
Well, in a perfect world, everything will come on time. You never have surplus. The demand will match the supply. But in real life, you need to be able to work with the open market. So I would like to ask you, what do you think is the best practice to work with the open market, and how do you develop a clear strategy to work with the open market?
So for my company, I saw the market change, and I was on top of it before it hit, and we had a list of suppliers. I mean, basically independents, and I saw that what we had wasn't sufficient enough for us to manage our business. I mean, it's actually really interesting to me, because I've met quite a few people here that are participating that, I mean, their company doesn't allow, or they frown on independent buys using the open market. Our company, we probably wouldn't have been able to hit our revenue. There is a risk associated with it, but if you approach it the right way, you have the right controls in place, you won't, have an issue, buying parts on the open market.
So how would you measure? What would be the criteria to?
It's mainly the certifications and the testing house that use it. We usually submit a questionnaire. It's not something done just by myself. We incorporate everybody from the sites, each location, and we all give input, and we'll make an assessment. And it's based on certain certifications, and then also insurance. We will not do business with any independent that does not have sufficient insurance. Because if we do have an excursion or some type of issue, we wouldn't be covered. I mean, we will not do business. I mean, we have a one strike you're out policy. I mean, so if something happens, and up to now, I've not had an issue. I've never, I have had issues with the counterfeit parts, but that was many years ago. But recently, no, we've not experienced that.
So considering the shortages in the recent M&A, the merger and acquisition activity, the famous MLCC shortage that hit the industry, how would you see the future of obsolescence management?
I think it's hit or miss. I see a lot of people, they're saying, oh, this is going to go out to 2020. I experienced the back in 2000, I managed tantalum caps at the time, and I know, it's cyclical, right? It happens, and there's a lot of manufacturers going and saying, oh, this is going to, there's a gnat. A lot of manufacturers saying, oh, this is going to go out to 2020, and I don't buy it. because it's based off of my experience and what I'm seeing. Yeah, I knew the market was going to get tight, but I didn't see some of that coming. And there is a lot, I know a lot about MLCCs because it's a commodity I managed for over 2 years. I know that supply base, and I'm not going to state it here, but I know a lot of things about why we're in the situation that we're in. It's probably not public knowledge, and I wouldn't want to, say anything here. We can do it offline. But there are some things that created that situation, and it's kind of unique. But it has to do with like intricacies of how complicated the supply chain is, and how something can go south really badly because of maybe how something is structured. I mean, I'm not going to go any further than that.
Can you tell me when it's going to end this?
I think, so I pay attention to the PMI index, but Purchasing Manager,
Yep.
and actually, in terms of global growth, that has subsided. It's gone down. So if it's over 50, that means positive, but it does mean positive growth, but it's slowed down. It was much higher. And I saw this like 2 years ago when things were picking up. I saw it coming, and we did one of my sites. Not everybody listens to me, but one of the sites that we had, they went and bought all passives. They bought a reel of every part, and I mean they avoided all of the shortages because they used the market intelligence. But looking at that PMI index and what's going on, June and July were really bad months. I think probably the peak of the shortages. I'm starting to see supplies start to trickle in. I think probably 6 months. I would say either the end of Q4 or Q1 timeframe, things are going to soften. A lot of people would think that's ridiculous. And I think it's all about human behavior. There's people that are double, triple, quadruple booking. They place the order on the Kemet, they place the order on the AVX, they place the order on the TDK, and to see what parts they can get. And it's the same cyclical, it's the same bad behavior that happened back in 2000. People get desperate. They see parts that show up, maybe they don't need them, but they want to make sure that they're covered on their production. They'll just go out and they'll snag those parts. And then you've got independents going out, securing product. It's going to be the same thing. There's going to be a glut of material out in the marketplace. That's my opinion.
I tend to agree.
I keep telling the independents, I deal with a lot of different people, and I said, don't get caught with your pants down. Because if you go out and it's risky right now. It's on the cusp. Right now it's still tight, don't get me wrong. Diodes, MOSFETs, MLCCs, but it's going to, we're on the cusp of it. It's gonna subside soon.
Okay, the next question will be about the community. FOM quickly grow and become an active community. What would be your expectation for such a community?
They mentioned it like having a consortium. What I would really like to do, if there was a way, there's different ways to broadcast obsolescence, and I think that if there was more, companies that we would share our information, I think that would be really beneficial. Because typically what happens, I frown on selling some of the parts because we lose so much money. We do, and I think if we got or had a contact at another company, not to take the independent out of the picture, right? I don't mean it like that, but if there was some type of collaboration, I think there would be value brought to other people that because we don't have the connection necessarily, and maybe their competitor or whatever, right? But I think that probably would be the most beneficial thing, is that there's some type of data sharing, that I think would be really beneficial.
And surplus sharing.
Yeah. Surplus sharing. Yes, definitely.
Thank you very much, James. It was a pleasure.
Thank you very much. Thank you.